Under normal circumstances, I'd just let this go.
That was about the softest reference that he could have made, but do you want to talk about the theater thing?
If you don't know what I'm talking about, last fall, Representative Lauren Boebert went to a Denver stage production of Beetlejuice and spent the entire time being the kind of pain in the ass we've come to know. Singing, taking pictures with a flash, and being generally disruptive. But that's not what this guy's referring to. She also let her date feel her up and gave his happy place a pat or two.
Sure. So, Kyle, I certainly have owned up to my night out in Denver. And, you know, I've gone on that public apology tour, and I'm grateful for the mercy and grace that has been shown. But I'm not going to continue to live life in shame and be beat up by this. And, you know, I would like to go back to my legislative record for just a second.
We're not going to do that. You had plenty of time to answer the question. You chose not to. That's fine. I just want to make sure.
And
you have apologized for the theater incident.
I certainly have.
And I just want to make sure. Did you apologize for the behavior that went on with you and your date, or the vaping,
Kyle,
or did you apologize, or pardon me, or did you apologize for lying to voters about what you did that night and the disrespect that you showed to service workers that night? What specifically were you apologizing for?
I don't believe there was disrespect. There were things that were absolutely taken out of context.
There's video of your interactions with service workers. I'm asking,
right,
are you apologizing for the lying to voters,
that I flipped someone off, and I did not.
Well, that's just a lie. Check it out.
Boebert. Say it 3 times and she appears in security video from a weekend performance of Beetlejuice, where the congresswoman was kicked out of the theater for being disruptive. The DCPA says she was vaping. Boebert's team denied that, said the haze was from fog machines in the show. That claim goes up in smoke when you see the video. The pregnant woman sitting behind Boebert told the Denver Post she asked her to stop vaping, and Boebert refused. Her one-woman show continued, taking flash photos, raising her hands and dancing, often the only one clapping or standing up in the crowd. Boebert occasionally took a break from being disruptive to enjoy the company of her male companion. He briefly had a grasp on the situation before ushers returned and told Boebert she had to leave. The theater's incident report says Boebert pulled the "Don't you know who I am" card on the way out, appearing to give theater employees the single-finger salute.
Lauren Boebert is a train wreck, but the perfect metaphor for the Trump years. Flagrantly lying whenever her mouth opens, she's a gargantuan train wreck of a person.
So, I mean, I think it's been very mischaracterized. I'm apologizing for you, Kyle Clark, getting footage and releasing that. And people seeing this in a very private moment.
Certainly. It was very important to figure out whether you were telling the truth
you just had
or
an
whether a
interview
public
recently with
agency was lying about your conduct.
You just had an interview with CityCast Denver, and you were saying how disgusting it is to record someone without their knowledge.
Let's talk about the use of earmarks in Congress.
You did that very same thing and released.
I love that part. She doesn't care that she was masturbating a guy in a theater full of kids, or that he was hanging on her chest like a rock climber, or that they were violating all the rules designed to make the evening pleasurable for everyone else. She simply doesn't care. And when she was getting tossed out, she did one of those "Do you know who I am?" and then flipped the worker off. Lauren Boebert came on the scene during MAGA's ascent, even though at the time it was revealed that her ex-husband exposed himself to minors, and she herself had been busted twice and arrested when she failed to show up for court. This is Lauren Boebert.
I looked to my left, and there she is, Ilhan Omar. Whoops. And I said, well, she doesn't have a backpack. We should be fine.
And for the record, Trump has endorsed her. But this may be one of those cases where old Republicans stick it to Boebert and Donnie Indictable.
Indictable.
Boebert won her last election by less than 1%, and the numbers told her she was going to lose in that district if she ran again. So she decided to switch to a nearby district where Representative Ken Buck was resigning. Buck was sick of Trump, and he said so.
Really, we're at a time in American politics that I am not going to lie on behalf of my presidential candidate, on behalf of my party. And I'm very sad that others in my party have taken the position that as long as we get the White House, it doesn't really matter what we say.
But here's where he screwed Boebert. Metaphorically, Buck decided to leave early, resigned before the election, and that meant Colorado had to have a special election. And if Boebert wanted to run in that special election, she would have to first abandon her current seat, a dilemma of sorts. So now she's running against the Republican who won the special election and is currently trailing that congressman, and the numbers show her losing in the fall. So that's good, but as we've seen in Georgia, there's an epidemic of Lauren Boeberts. Here's Dairy Queen's pathetic attack on Dr. Fauci.
And making up guidelines like 6 feet distancing and masking of children. Do you think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? because you're not Doctor, you're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes.
It's understood that intelligence is anathema to the grand old party, and Boebert is part of that MAGA revolution, where unlike the Liz Cheneys of the GOP, she represents the prototypical Trump woman, a $100 haircut and a 2-cent brain.
We need a full investigation into just how many puppies were eaten alive on Fauci's watch.
But Lauren Boebert's short time in Congress shouldn't be just about her hand job or even her pervy husband. Hell, Bill Clinton would stick his little rock toward anything with a pulse. For Boebert and the GOP, though, it's the Calvinistic "we are God's chosen party" bullshit that stinks.
Do you feel like Donald Trump is in some way God's chosen one as a candidate?
I do. I think he's been sent from above.
Whenever a MAGA is caught abusing a basic societal norm like sexual assault, as in the case with Trump or Matt Gaetz or Jim Jordan, they go into full denial mode. After Trump apologized for his grab him by the Ted Cruz moment, a month later he said it wasn't even his voice.
I moved on her like a bitch.
Instead of coming clean on Stormy and Karen McDougal, which probably wouldn't have hurt his chances with his hillbilly bass, he doctored books and played catch and kill. And then he acts like it's our fault that we caught him.
That is crazy!
Before the internet and social platforms, you could have made a case that mainstream media controlled the truth. There were 4 national TV networks and 1 paper in each town. It wasn't hard to hide affairs, or even worse. But today, the bar is way higher, and people get burned. Boebert has claimed she's a victim of woke, but she's really a victim of dumb.
I have the voting record to back it, and that is why yesterday, the greatest president of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump, has fully and completely endorsed me in this race because he knows he needs me alongside of him in the fight when he returns to Washington, D.C.
I was brought up believing that when you shat the bed, you fess up, and it goes away quicker. But the truth does not favor this Republican Party, so they abandon it.
Alternative facts.
Boebert's crime wasn't a hand job, it was her reaction to getting caught. Straight out of Trump's handbook, she denied. And then when the video came out, she went dark and eventually had to eat a big old shit sandwich. And she apologized, but like Trump, she's lying again. It was clear she flipped those workers off as she left, but she can't admit it. But here it is. It'll be on the web for her grandchildren to see. Oh, I forgot to mention, at 36, she's already a grandmother. For the record, Boebert isn't Trump. She's a half-eaten pizza, a wispy fart in a hurricane. She says idiotic things because she's an idiot. And this is her hero.
I have absolutely no idea who this woman is.
But ultimately, Boebert will just be a flashcard in history's take on these times. History will, however, not forget the feeble-minded MAGA nation and wonder what happened to us. How did so many people fall for a convicted felon, rapist, traitor, and a moron for the ages?
But I am not unpopular.
How did so many people fall for a convicted felon, rapist, traitor, and a moron for the ages? And the answer's right here. Lauren Boebert exemplifies the times where it doesn't matter what you say, just who you say it to. Simply put, history will show our country to be way overrated. In 10 years, Lauren Boebert will be waiting tables and probably stealing her co-workers' tips. Or maybe not. Maybe she'll learn one day that offering someone a hand has more than one meaning.
Damn right. We could very well have a sitting president under felony indictment.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I'm Chip Franklin.